Hello, friends. Hope you're doing well. Got the blue light still on. If you were watching yesterday, I was messing with the light. There we go. Getting back into the normal look. Let's see. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. I think we'll take the daylight down. There we go. Maybe just one. Yeah. Better. Nice. So I hope you're doing okay. You can't see. Oh, maybe you can see just a little bit. I got some papers on my ottoman, but there's way more. If I lift this up, here we go. Heavy camera, heavy tripod. I have been going through some notes. As you can tell, going through a lot of old notes, trying to figure some stuff out. That fan seems really loud. Should I turn the fan on? Now, leave the fan going. People like the fan. Do you like the fan? Leave a comment. Want your comments? Let's do it. But I'm going through finding video ideas. I have, so these are just for this channel. I have a lot of ideas. Need to get the throat. Gotta do some more tea. I just ordered some chocolate tea. Did you know that was a thing? I ordered tea that's chocolate, and apparently, like, you put it in coffee, it's supposed to be good. I don't know. It's just shipped today. I'm real excited about it. I'll let you know how it is. Got it from Republic of Tea. If you know anything about chocolate tea, drop me some comments. I want to know more about tea, specifically chocolate tea, because I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to get healthy again, because I gained almost all the weight back that I lost this year. Well, last year. Well, within the last 365. Anyway, so some of the ideas I've got a bunch of ice rink stories. I've got words of affirmation, investment ladder, tour of my apartment. I wrote down ASMR word of the day. I don't know what that is, because I'm like, word of the day. It's just a section. Like, okay, here we go. Word of the day. Boom. Word of the day. Malaise. It's when you're like in a malaise, which is just like you're feeling really lethargic. Is that also a fancy word for you? I don't know if lethargic is a fancy word or not. It feels fancy, but basically you just not feeling it, you know? When you're not feeling it, you're in a malaise. You're feeling lethargic. Just not into it. Lethargic is not quite like, malaise is more of like an emotional, whereas lethargic is just kind of like general laziness. I think. Don't quote me on that, you know? I was a gifted reader as a child, which of course meant that I didn't like to read until I became much older, and then I was like, oh yeah, reading's great. This is great. Okay, let's see what else. All the movies I watched in 2020, and I watched 365 of them, I think, or a little more than that. Talking about all the books I read in 2020. Then ice rink stories, I got a handful of them. We talk about the big embezzlement scandal. I don't know if I mentioned that. How a Zamboni works. A story between two girls named Sarah and Megan. The time somebody got their thumb chopped off in the Zamboni. A story about a woman that was... I don't want to say her name because it does feel... I don't remember her name. I'll tell you this. But people, there's a nickname for her that the employees used. And it was a different time, you know. But she was very Orthodox Jewish, and the employees thought she was a bit of a Karen. So I think you can maybe guess what the nickname was. It was not a polite name, but they liked to call her that, and it was, looking back, it's a little anti-Semitic. I didn't call her that, you know, because I was trying to be a goody two-shoes. But that story is wild about that woman. Let's see, there was a really intense coach whose name I'm not going to mention because he's still coaching. Ring stories that I can remember, that I just jotted down. But yeah, so that's my problem, is that I have too many ideas and not enough execution. So that's what I'm going through all my ideas, throwing out all these scraps of paper, narrowing it down. I feel like what I need to do is focus, because I have basically, I've got 4 YouTube channels. I've got this one. I've got a white noise / relaxing / whatever I want it to be channel, which is, it's the biggest channel I have, but I pay the least attention to it because it's got a couple of videos that have done very well that have almost 500,000 views. And then I'm starting a channel about filmmaking and creativity and self-development. That's just my name. And then link in the description for those 2. And then I want to do a movie review channel, which the point of the movie review channel was just to talk every day. But this is kind of feeling that niche. But I love movies. I love talking about movies. And I feel like the movie review channels on YouTube aren't that great. I feel like they could be better. So those are the four ideas I've got for channels. And I'm like, I feel like there's too many targets. I think I just need to like this. I like this channel because this is authentic. I just sit down and hit record and start talking about what I'm thinking about, what I'm feeling, So this takes very little effort, although I have been trying to brainstorm ways to bring you some effort, because I feel, I don't know if it's a reward, or if what's being latched onto is just the authenticity of a guy who just has no filter and it's just like, here you go. But I've been thinking about some ways to like beef up the channel, make it better. I was trying to make things better, but always to make people happy. That's the point of making stuff. You're making gifts for other people. I saw a tweet recently that was like, I wake up every day looking for things to make me say yes to life. And as a creator, I want to be making those things. I'm like, yeah, yes. I have never seen it put so well. So there's that. So this is my list. I don't know why I'm showing you this list instead of just doing the list, but I sat down and hit record and that's what came out. But I will share with you a story. Oh man, we're almost 8 minutes in. Okay, so I'll just tease another story for you. And it's gonna be a separate video that'll probably maybe be my best one. Who knows? Probably it will. I'll bet you it's so good it'll get 1 million views because it's embarrassing, and that'll be the thing that blows up. It's about the time that I shit my pants, and I told my girlfriend that today. I told my girlfriend the story, and she just died laughing because we were doing that thing couples do where you rib each other a little bit. And for some reason, I don't know where this came from, but in my head, what I said to her was, yeah, well, at least I'm not dating someone that's shit their pants before. And it took her a second for it to click that I was kind of a self-burn, but it's kind of a burn on her because she's dating some idiot who shit his pants. But I shit my pants at an amusement park when I was a teenager. And I will tell you that story, but not today. If you want to hear it, leave a comment. I'm after those comments. Is that getting annoying? I don't know. There's people like Davey504. I don't know if you follow him. He's a bigger YouTuber, but like, I feel like the bigger YouTuber means almost nothing anymore, because like Davey504 has a couple million subscribers, but like that doesn't mean you've ever seen him, like, and such a crazy thing to think about. Like, millions of people have subscribed to your channel, and like even more people have seen your video at least once, and it's like, but like there's still just like this huge population that have no idea who he is. But he's a guy who plays bass guitar, or that's why he started as a bass guitar player. He's Italian, and I don't know if he spoke English then, but then he started talking in his videos. He's a very funny guy, and so it started devolving into other things. It's still a lot about bass, but he always, he's always like, slap that like button, because slap bass, slap at a bass man. Anyway, he's good. Go check him out. He's very funny. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm just doing the declutter thing, and I found like my big stash of notebooks. So I'm just ripping pages out, got these folders, like, and I'm pulling out notes from like 2013 where I'm like, this is still relevant. Like, why didn't I make this video? You know, it's like, because I was scared. That's what it is. I was scared. I think what it is, I've reached the age now that I'm 34. I just don't give a shit anymore. Like, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to be cool. I've got a super hot, nerdy, goth girlfriend, you know, which is like exactly what I wanted. I'm checking the boxes, you know. I work for myself. I have my own business, essentially. It pays for a pretty nice apartment. Cool girlfriend who likes nerdy stuff. Is just down for whatever. You know, I've got a cool dog. Like, life's going pretty good. Like, aside from like the diabetes thing and having my toe cut off and COVID, but that's affecting everybody, you know. Things are going pretty good, you know. I'm pretty. But things could always be better, and I feel like I'm getting to this point where I'm like, I want to give back, you know, like, if that's a thing, I want to help other people up. I've always wanted to help other people up, but for the longest time, I don't know why I'm making this motion. It looks like I'm like milking a giant cow. But like, for the longest time, I've always wanted to help people, but I'm so competitive that like, it just like, don't give away any secrets, you know, like the 2 rules to success. Rule number 1, never tell them everything you know. And then people are like, what's rule number 2? It's like, refer to rule number 1, don't tell them. And you're like, didn't you just tell us? Then you just kind of repeated yourself. And you're like, Fight Club rules, don't tell them. So that's, also, I don't know if it's on here. How to write jokes. Oh, that is on there. How to write jokes. I'm also gonna write down the time I shit my pants. My pants. At little teaser. Adventureland. Yes, that is a theme park. I shit my pants at a theme park. That's a story for another day, though. Teasers. You're welcome. So, yeah, that's what I'm going through. I'm going through old videos. I'm decluttering. Work is starting to pick back up, which is awesome. But then taxes are due. They were probably actually due. I probably should go check that, because I probably should be paying them right now. And by right now, I mean it's Martin Luther King Day, so the bank and the post office weren't open, so I couldn't pay them if I even wanted to. But I probably should go send those in and make sure I got enough money for that. Yeah. So. Oh, also, one other thing I want to talk about: GameStop. If you know anything about the stock market, it's interesting. What's happening right now with GameStop is. So for the longest time, I was like, what GameStop needs to do is they need to like close most of their stores. Like where I live in Omaha, there's 8 stores. They should have 2, and they should make them 3 times as big. Because like, think about it, with 8 stores, how much of that shelf space is just redundant space for like Xbox and the new games and the AAA, the stuff you gotta have, the stuff Best Buy has, the stuff Target has, the stuff Walmart has. Like, there's no competitive advantage in having the same things at the same price, you know. So why have 8 stores that has that? Just because it's closer. Like Walmart, Target, they're always going to beat you at something. There's something going to be closer. So make it a destination, something people want to go to. And GameStop hired, they have a new guy, the guy who founded Chewy.com, which is like a pet food thing online. And he's taking over, and he's going to make GameStop like the Amazon of video games. And he's talking about closing stores and then putting in like build your own PC kiosks and like having space for tabletop games like Warhammer and Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. So I'm like, that's pretty exciting actually. So if you're into nerd stuff, you know, and what was interesting is, so right now, the interesting thing about that, from the financial side, is there is a subreddit on Reddit called Wall Street Bets, where people are degenerates essentially and treat the stock market like a casino. And there's a guy who's very famous. He is the guy from the movie The Big Short, the Christian Bale plays, who saw the 2008 bubble before it happened and made a bunch of money on it. But he didn't want to make the money on it. He's just like, this is gonna ruin the world. But like, okay, just that sort of a play. And he ended up making a lot of money on it. And so a couple months ago, he put a lot of money into GameStop, which was like circling the drain, and it was just kind of like, that's weird, because the stock was trading at like $4, and now it's up to like 40. So that's like, he's already made a 10x return, which is just bonkers. But what was happening was, for some reason, these people were shorting the stock. That's something that happens when you think the stock is going to go down, and like down. And so especially companies that are circling the drain, people will start shorting the stock. And what that means is, and this is, when I tell you this, you're going to be like, how does the stock market even exist? And I'm going to tell you, I don't know. Somebody somewhere developed these things. But a short is when you have money, right? And you say, that stock is going down. So you go to somebody that has shares, and you borrow the shares, and not the money. You're borrowing shares. You're saying, I'm going to borrow your car, right? So let's use a car as an example. I think that make a lot of sense to people. I'm going to borrow your 2001 Honda, right? And you know what the 2001 Honda's worth, or whatever. It's worth $2,000, let's say. So you sell. I borrow your car, and then I sell it, right? And I make $2,000. Now, 6 months from now, the 2001 Honda is no longer worth $2,000. It's worth $1,500. So I buy another 2001 Honda for $1,500. And I bring that back to you and I go, here's your Honda back. And you're just like, okay, cool. It's a 2000 Honda. I don't care. Like, it's the same thing. But in the process, I made $500. So that's what's called a short. You're borrowing the shares, then you're selling them instantly to make money, and then buying them back when it's gone down. Now, obviously, the price didn't go down, and because people thought GameStop was circling the drain, a lot of people were shorting it. Now, here's where it gets iffy. The people on Wall Street Bets and everywhere else have seen like how GameStop is rising, and they see the new Chewy guy coming in, and people are excited about the stock, so they're buying it. And now what's happening is called a short squeeze. So what's happening here is all these people that bought shorts, they borrowed the stock at $5 and sold it, now have to buy the stock back at $35 to $40 or whatever it lands at, when their what's called a margin call happens. They have to owe. And these people, they're not borrowing like 1,000 shares. They're borrowing like $30 million worth of $5 shares to sell, against, so they can make that money. And so when a short squeeze happens, it's because there's so much interest in the stock and people are buying it and buying it and buying it. These people cannot buy enough shares to fill back in their margin call. They just can't. There's just not enough shares trading. So they're buying them at any price. And because of how it works, they're always at the top price, at the top ask price. And that makes the price go higher. And so each share they buy, it gets higher and higher. And when you have dozens of people, dozens of organizations that owe stock back, they're bidding each other up. And that's called a short squeeze. So you're going to see that stock go poof, like that. It's not a guarantee. Obviously, there's a lot of things that could happen that make it not go poof, There's a lot of, like, market things that could happen, theoretically. So I'm not telling you, do your own research, do your own due diligence. But there's a lot of people that seem pretty smart are saying GameStop stock's going to go way up. I can't promise you that, because there are a lot of things. There's a lot of people that have a lot of money on the hook, and they have a lot of pull. Let me tell you what. So, like, one realistic thing that could happen is GameStop could have another public offering where they dilute the shares by offering a lot more stock because the interest is so high, and they really don't have that many shares out. And that lets the shorts off the hook because they can just instantly buy out that stock, They could buy into the company that way. there's also like market regulation things, because a lot of the people that thought they were gonna get really rich off GameStop selling the shorts have the kind of pull where they can introduce regulation because they have the money and they have the politicians, that they can be like, okay, well, this subreddit, which has made them very angry because it's made questionable trades at times that have gone in the face. That is a loud train horn, holy moly. That have gone in the face, like, it's making them mad because they're losing money on a lot of these deals. Because what's happening is, well, you have a bunch of people who are essentially just like idiots that don't have that much money, are selling and buying stocks in unpredictable patterns, and people are trying to get in there and what's called inversing, which means I'm going to do the opposite of whatever you do because I think you're dumb and I'm going to make money off of you. But these people are winning, and these people who think they're smart, their old money, are losing. So it's a really interesting world, what's happening. It's very fascinating. I think you might see some regulation on it. You might see options trading go away unless you have a set number of money in your account. Like, because there is, like, for day trading, there's a rule that you can't enter and exit a position 5 times within a certain period of time unless you have $25,000 in your brokerage account. And that's to protect people, because people are losing their money day trading, essentially. And I forget what that rule is called, but people are speculating like that might happen with options trading, where you cannot options trade unless you have that $25,000 in your brokerage account, which would, I don't think that will happen because the brokerages are making a lot of money, because a lot of them will charge per contract on an options trade. So, when you do the options trade, a lot of people are selling, 100 contracts at a time, and you're thinking, okay, well, 50 cents a time, but you're talking thousands of contracts are sold, and people, especially younger people that don't have a lot of money, are very interested in options trading. So the volume of options trading is changing. And so essentially you just have some crybabies that are losing big time because they over-leveraged themselves, wanting to change the laws because of it. So you have this situation where, like, these people are repeatedly on several different, like on Tesla, people have shorted Tesla, and you see how Tesla stock's trading almost at $1,000 now, like, they're losing huge. And so I think they're gonna try to go after, you see these on, like, Wall Street Journal, there's like articles about, like, the retail investor is, taking out old money because old money's stupid. They're not doing their work. And so it's just crazy to see these people, and there's people that have become millionaires, like, doing this, and like I said, nothing is guaranteed. A lot of these people made very questionable, stupid trades that ended up just working out, because, again, if there's a book I like, it's called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke, and she talks about, like, when she's teaching people poker, like, if somebody has a 90% hand, like, you would say, oh, that's a great bet, but 10% of the time they will still lose. And that's what's happening. Those people are making these crazy bets to have like a 1%, 2% chance of winning, and then somehow it happens and they win. It happens. So it's just happening a lot more often because you have a lot of people who essentially, like, they're taking their entire paycheck. They see there's nothing for them, and they're like, what do I got to lose? And they're just gambling their money away. And sometimes they win, and sometimes they win enough and they pull themselves out of it. You're just like, whew. To me it's fascinating, so fascinating. And, like, I'm doing it on a smaller scale because I'm not gonna go all in on it. I like my life, I'm doing okay, but you can always do a little bit better. So I'm trying to add more risk into my life, so I'm doing a little bit of options trading, and so far it's been working out pretty well. But there's no guarantees, And so it's so fascinating to me, and yeah, it's just bonkers. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. I hope you're doing well, and if not, well, I hope that turns around for you real soon. Okay. So I've been ending these videos by saying go get some sleep, because it's like, it's like most people watch these videos at like 1 o'clock. So go take a nap. I don't know. Whatever it is you do after watching my videos, go do that. So, as always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave comments, etc. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good night.